Hello, guys, and welcome to Digital Marketing Show. So, my name is Luis Xavier, and my team and I we help business owners and course creators to increase their sales with powerful marketing strategies, funnels, email sequences, chatbots, and much more. We help you get qualified leads on autopilot. So, the Digital Marketing Show is a project that has a simple idea but a powerful one. Add value to your business by sharing how our successful guests are achieving their goals, growing their business, and living a different lifestyle. So today I'm going to be interviewing Nicholas Alexander. So Nicholas has been a certified personal trainer and strength conditioner coach, and he has type 1 diabetic. He is a type 1 diabetic for over 24 years. He has owned multiple fitness facilities, and he has spent the past 15 years helping diabetics gain control and improve their confidence, getting better self-image. There you go. So this is his website. How you doing, Nick?
Hey, how's it going, bud? Good to see you. Thanks for having me.
Awesome, mate. So you're actually one of my clients as well. So I'm super stoked to have you here. I'm really, really happy. Thank you for making the time to be here. It means quite a lot to me. You're an absolute legend. So I wanted to get started a little bit, with how did everything started? Like, how did you get involved with strength and conditioning?
Yeah, okay. Well, I must say, hands are a little bit less sweaty after an introduction like that. So thanks for that, my buddy.
Pleasure.
Yeah. I think to best explain that, I think the best way would be to say is that I often say to people that our sports, and in this case, my profession really chose me. I was diagnosed with diabetes at the age of 10. I started high school, and you learn very quickly the struggles of diabetes, just the diabetic overwhelm. And then the extra decisions you have to make in everyday life. So when it came time to choose a career, my endocrinologist always told me, my diabetic specialist, he always says you need a triangle of control. And that is to control your diabetes through nutrition and training before medication. So it started the thought process in what am I going to do for a living? Because we spend a lot of our time at our jobs that is going to allow me to pay a little bit more attention to training and nutrition before my medication, my insulin. And well, that was to go into the fitness industry. So I did nutrition, and at that time it was a very female-based market. Biokineticist, I job shadowed them and figured that wasn't really the route I wanted to take, because it was very more rehabilitative rather than, I enjoy gym and I enjoy training and I enjoy different sports and so on. And I just wasn't very interested in the rehabilitation aspect of it. And so that's where it really started. I started personal training from there. And that's how I got into the industry I'm in.
That's awesome. So how old did you find out that you were diabetic?
I was 10. I was turning 11.
Wow.
I was at my aunt's house, and my mother had been diabetic for 5 years prior to me. And my grandmother, my father's mother, so other side of the family, she was also diabetic. So, I grew up seeing this. And then when I had the same symptoms, the dry mouth, urinating a lot, no energy, red eyes, I knew what was I knew what was happening.
That's amazing. So, like, in terms of an everyday life for someone that doesn't know what's involved, like, what is involved? You know what I mean? Like, because I have like a few friends with diabetics, like diabetic friends and stuff, but I don't really know what they go through, to be honest. Like, so can you share with us?
Yeah, absolutely. So I suppose diabetes affects absolutely everything. And when you're a diabetic, the decisions that, you would normally make on a daily basis, there are just so many more decisions to make. So diabetes is, there are two types, type 1 and type 2. They differ by kind, but they're really the same. it's an energy disease. So we've got glucose levels in our body, and every cell in our body needs glucose to operate as fuel. And everything that we eat turns into glucose pretty much. If it's a carb and a sugar, it will break down and eventually turn into glucose for the body to use as fuel.
Yeah.
And so pretty much everything that involves activity or inactivity, diabetes will affect. So we wake up in the morning and you've had let's just say you've had a hard night and you don't feel like eating breakfast and you skip breakfast. That's normally okay for someone. However, for a diabetic, we wake up and we've had a whole lot of decisions being made from our body, but we've become intolerant to carbohydrates and our body using nutrients. So we actually have to replenish and balance our sugar levels throughout the day. If our sugar levels go higher, we need to give insulin to bring it back down. And if our sugars go lower, we have to eat carbohydrates and glucose, particularly or specifically fast-acting glucose, to bring our sugars back up to range. And so I would say every single decision we make is, it has to take our diabetes into consideration.
So how do you measure? How do you measure throughout the day?
So you can use the finger prick tests. You put the prick your finger, drop of blood on the strip, and it tells you what your glucose levels are.
Yeah.
I used that for the first 17 years of me being diabetic. And, I thought everything was fine. However, we don't get to see what our sugars are throughout the day, only at that very given time when we test our sugars. So now I use a continuous glucose monitor. It's an app on my phone, and I wear a little sensor on my stomach, and it tells me what my sugars are every minute of the day.
Wow.
But it also tells me if they're going to go low in 20 minutes or if they're trending high or if they're staying constant. So I can make, with that data that I get, I can make educated decisions as to, do I need to give insulin before I go play sport? Because if it's trending up, I wouldn't need to. And if it's trending down, I know I need to eat before I go play sport. And so the more data we can collect, the better the decisions we can make.
So you always carry insulin with you?
Yeah, insulin goes with me wherever I go. You guys have got a pancreas inside here that works, Sugar goes in, brain tells pancreas, make insulin. I just have to go, okay, cool, I'm taking this much sugar in or this much, carbohydrates or fuel or food. And then I need to count the carbs in everything I eat, milk, cheese, doesn't matter. And I need to work out how much insulin my pancreas would normally secrete for that amount of food I eat.
Yeah, interesting, mate. Let's talk about business. So you had a gym. You actually had multiple gyms, right? So
yes,
do you want to talk a little bit about that? How did you get to own a gym and actually multiple gyms? Like, I'd love to know a little bit about that.
I'm very happy to talk about that. It's getting hot here. I'm feeling a little
show the guns. Show the guns.
Yeah, feeling a little less nervous now, so this is good. Yeah, I started personal training when I was 19 years old. Having knowing that I needed to go into that industry, and I started personal training at the age of 19. To cut a long story short, I'm famous for making a long story longer, so I'll keep this one short.
I love it. Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, I started personal training and I was working to the bone, and I realized. I got the opportunity to buy into the gym that I was working at. And so I bought into the gym. It was for 20% of the company. And, I think I was 20 at the time, I thought, this is it. I'm going from, when we're young, we chase titles.
Yeah.
So I was going from personal trainer that was in Cape Town. Nice. I was going from personal trainer to gym owner. And to me, that was all that mattered. It was the title. Now that I'm a lot older, titles mean absolutely nothing. It's about the people you can help and I suppose the value you bring to your own table. But I bought into the gym, and the gym actually had 3 million on the books. So all I did was I bought 3 million debt. So that was my first very expensive lesson where business is concerned. I paid a lot of school fees to learn that lesson. But from there, I ended up actually coming out on top and completely owning my first fitness facility. It was at the foot of a law firm here in Cape Town, and the attorneys there were a large part of my clientele base. And from there, it just grew. I moved from a 100 square meter facility to a 400 square meter facility, and my third facility was about 800 square meters in size. It's about 5,000 square feet, I think, or somewhere along there.
Yeah.
And that was over the course of about 10 years. So a lot
Wow.
gets learned. A lot gets learned
I
about
understand.
the
Yeah.
industry when you're in it. Yeah.
So what was the trick to pay off the debt?
There's a story there. I'll tell you. I got really lucky. I must be honest. The lady that I was dating at the time, who is now my wife and the mother of my child, my
Yeah,
8-year-old
yeah,
daughter, she is an attorney, and she came in and heard what happened.
yeah.
And obviously, yeah. Cut a long story short, again, she came in and said, "Look, Nick's going to take the assets of the business. You guys are going to take that liability or debt because that was actually yours." And that was it. I went from personal
Wow.
trainer to someone with a title with 3 million in debt in the red,
Yeah,
to learning how to run my own fitness facility and ensure that I'm able to supply the service that I promised I would provide. And
that's
I'm learning every
amazing.
day. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's awesome. So, by back then, were you already helping other people with diabetes?
So initially, no, not at all. Initially, until I was about 26, I didn't take my diabetes personally. Yeah, I didn't take it seriously enough. I didn't at that time even really know how to help myself well enough. I was just so concerned about what I did as a profession, and that was sports performance. It was helping athletes, excel at their game. But so much so that I almost put excelling at my own game second. And so Diabetic Athletic started as a WordPress site. I just wrote articles on more training based articles, nothing really relevant to diabetics just yet. I was diabetic and I felt like I was athletic. So
Yeah.
that's where Diabetic Athletic came from.
Nice, nice.
Um, and the articles, they started doing really well. Magazines started asking me to write some articles for them.
Oh, cool.
And at the time, Debbie, she proofread all my articles for me because my grammar and spelling can be a little bit shocking at some time, at times. And that's when I really started to find out that writing and speaking about diabetes and teaching people about diabetes was something that one should probably do, because it's something that I knew so much about. I just didn't have
Yeah,
anyone to share it with, so I didn't share it at all. And so
yeah,
Diabetic Athletic was birthed. And over the last 6 years, I've been trying to turn it into the product that it is today.
yeah. So it always started with the blog, I guess.
Yeah. It all started with diabeticathletic.wordpress.com.
Wow.
Free little blog there.
Yeah. And did you monetize from it at all?
No, not at first. To be honest with you,
Yeah.
I was so concerned about the gym that I'd owned and training people in person and being present and selling my time, that,
Yeah.
the amount of time we have in the day, that I didn't really have any education as to how you would monetize something like that. Not at that age,
Hmm.
not at that time.
Of course. Yeah.
I had no idea about online programs and how effective they can actually be. So I wrote the articles and then went back to my training. I wrote the articles and went back to my clients, and I was working about 120 hours a week. So I was training people from 5 a.m. till 9 p.m. every day, 1 hour break if I was lucky. And well, I very quickly realized that I had no time. I couldn't step away from the business, go away on holiday, or do anything for myself because I was selling time. And if I wasn't present, I was losing sales. And so, yeah, that's pretty much where that was. And I suppose I didn't really have much education as to the online world and how you could actually monetize a blog, I guess.
Yeah. So how was the transition like? I mean, you started writing the blogs and you got some traction, and they're like,
Mm.
well, people really like what I'm doing. They're getting value out of it. Like so how was the transition to I can make it a business, like so I can help others that are or were in the same situation as I am.
So that's just it. As I went on in the years of owning the fitness facilities, I became more business savvy. And I started to realize when we have a business, the number one fundamental foundational aspect we need to have is that we need to be able to provide the service that we sold in the first place. We need to be able to deliver the value that we promised, that made people want to either join our facility or hop on our program. And I came to realize that while I was so busy selling personal training, I wasn't able to deliver that much value to the people I was training because I only had 3 hours a week with them. Generally, people would train Monday for an hour with me, Wednesday for an hour, and Friday for an hour, which means out of the 10,080 minutes in a week, I was seeing them for 180 minutes, which means that is the smallest part of the amount of value that we can deliver. And so there was that thought process put together with the fact that I had to be present at the gym from morning till night. I tried to step away from the gym. I tried to hire coaches from the States that came down here. I, paid for their accommodation, and I started to slowly hand my clients over, and my clients weren't having it. As soon as I tried to step back, they said, we're here for you. And if you're not going to be here, they weren't enjoying the training and X and Y and Z, and the list goes on. And I figured, wow, so this business model that I have now requires me to be here 24/7. And that, we have to create a business that suits our lifestyle as well, something that we're never really going to burn out from. And that happened. I burned out 10 years later. And I decided to close my gym down in June 2017. I closed them all down and decided that I wanted to make the transition online. And that's where the biggest challenge came from, was how do I provide an even better service? People, we all think that training with someone in person is going to be better, but in matter of fact, all they have is that subconscious thought of how much they're paying for a premium, because you pay a lot to be trained in person, versus the amount of time it actually takes to get results. It doesn't take 1 month, unfortunately. It doesn't take 2 months. Sometimes it takes 3 to 5 months. So if someone's paying 7,000 Rand a month to be trained for 180 minutes out of the 10,080 minutes in a week, for you to hold, I'm not saying this is what personal training is, but you're not there to count their reps, and you're not there to hold their water bottle, and you're not there to just demand, I'm going to say the word demand for lack of a better word, but to tell them to do push-ups and then X and Y and Z. What you actually want is to educate them and make sure that all the decisions in their day are going to be, well looked after. And I thought that needs to change. So I moved online, and I figured out a way to provide a better service than I did in person online. It's taken me a long time, and it's getting better every day. But yeah, as long as you find a way to deliver the value, everything else kind of falls into place.
That's amazing. All right, so let's talk a little bit about your business itself. So you made the transition, and now you have your business online. So what is a business online? What did you create, and what sort of parts did you need to made available to your clients in order to call it a business online? And how is the difference between having a brick and mortar business and transitioning that to online?
Okay,
looks like I'm drinking beer. It's actually kombucha. I just want to most people are like, man, you're really getting drunk there.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a really good question. So what I did was I broke down what somebody would need, or what somebody would expect from me when they came to me as a personal trainer. Someone's coming to you because they need a specific set of results. Whether they be diabetic or not, someone's coming to you. Let's just use fat loss as an example. They would come to you, and what would normally happen is, as a trainer, training you in person, you would come for the training, which means when I see you for that 1 hour on Monday, training's the objective. Okay. And we teach you about training, but you don't really get taught about nutrition. And if you're getting taught about nutrition, it means I'm talking to you for the whole hour about nutrition. And that means we're losing out on the other part, which is the training. And then, there's other aspects like the education and helping them with decisions when they leave the gym, not just when they're inside the gym. So what I did was I broke down that process, and I asked myself, how am I going to put that online? And I figured out that online is a much better way to be able to do this, because you're able to give access your information. You're able to have your clients access your info at any time of the day. So it's really when it suits them, not just the hour that they've booked for you, because life happens and sometimes that can't be kept, and so on. So what I did was I broke down every step, every building block you would want in somebody's journey. So the first step is education, right? They need to know what diets are. in order to choose a diet that actually works for them and applies to them in their lifestyle. Often as a PT, we would give you a PDF of a meal plan, but it's a meal plan that's it's the prescription, but we don't teach you why it works so that it can be changed into a way that actually applies to your lifestyle and complements it rather than complicates it. I can guarantee you anyone that's tried a meal plan, it's a complication rather than a complement. And that really comes down to them getting the wrong prescription for their lifestyle and the goals that they want. So education on my course is the first step on the roadmap or on the ladder to the end result. So what happens is you would sign up and we would take care of your education. It almost looks like the Netflix of fitness. I've made video modules on diets, what diets are, why they work, what dietary methods are, and how to choose a method that can apply to your lifestyle and ensure that you're choosing the right diet for your mental satisfaction, for your physical goals, but also for sustainability so that you can keep it going. And that's education and knowledge. My program is specifically for diabetics. And there it comes down to education. We can't take care of our diabetes if we are uneducated as to how diabetes works. Very much the same as training and very much the same as nutrition. So the education is on diabetes. Why we're diabetic, what different kinds of diabetes there are, how diabetes works with exercise, and how diabetes works with different kinds of foods. And once you understand that, you can make educated choices and start looking after your diabetes, your training, and your nutrition. So that's the first part of the course. And then it moves on from there. So I decided, right, now that we've got the client's education down and knowledge, what's the next step? And by actioning small steps week by week, we end up staying away from diabetic overwhelm and actually introducing small actionable steps that over time paint the picture that the clients or my clients are wanting. So the next is nutrition. Once we've taught you about nutrition, we start creating your own nutrition plan, something that's custom to you. The foods you enjoy, the times of day you enjoy eating. There's no point getting a diet that tells you to eat or miss breakfast or eat 6 times a day if you don't feel like it. It doesn't make a difference at the end of the day. And then once we've taken care of your nutrition, it's then exercise, because knowledge and nutrition are far more important than our activity. They all need to be done, but there's an order that really helps. And this online program allows them to action what needs to be done step by step at the right times.
Mate, this is amazing. I love that you mentioned, everything that's covered under, looking after, the issue itself. Education, I think it's huge. I had a personal trainer for some time, and I thought that I just needed to go to the gym and go do a workout, and that was it. And the education is huge, because if you go to the gym and you work really hard and then you get home and you have chocolate and all that stuff, it just doesn't work.
Yeah.
So nutrition is huge, but I think with your clients, they still have another layer, because they have diabetes as well, so they really need to understand how it works. So fantastic work, mate. This is awesome.
Absolutely.
So,
Thank you.
So with the clients that you had before, did you have any clients that were diabetic, and did you had the chance to offer them the online course, and how did they take it?
So no, actually no. I started working with far more diabetics, just because I was diabetic. Other diabetics felt that, and rightfully so. When you're a diabetic and you get trained by a non-diabetic, there's just no amount of textbooks that can tell you what we go through when we train and how we feel and when we wake up and what's actually happening with our energy balance. So there was that understanding. And if you get a trainer that can't relate to your goals, they're just never going to be delivered. If you've had a trainer that's never had to really struggle with obesity or being overweight, they just got this genetic predisposition for having a six-pack all year round, they don't really know the psychological struggles that you've been going through to actually, or where you are at the moment, and how to get you to where you need to be. They just know that you overeat and you need to lose weight, and that's really what's going on in their minds. I can guarantee you. That's you need a deeper understanding to help someone. So I didn't train many diabetics until I actually decided to go into the specific niche of And it was daunting because I made the move of giving up a large clientele base because they weren't the audience that I actually wanted. So I ended up closing my gym down, and I ended up not training anybody that didn't fit into my target market or my target audience, and that was, that is diabetics. And when you do that, the start is slow. It's you start again basically, and I was happy to start again because I knew once I'd built that up, I would be happy with what I was doing, and that's the goal. I mean, that is the goal.
Yeah, because you can help other people as well, like you wanted in that niche as well. So it's perfect. So, what was the strategy behind your business? What is the strategy behind your business right now? Are you doing more organic traffic, paid traffic? How's that going?
Yeah, that's a very good question. So, like, know, and trust are the first three words that come to mind when you ask me that. My strategy initially, I thought sales would be easy. I can sell to in person very easily because if I can help you, it's very easy for that to relate. And that's really what it comes down to. Someone needs a service, you're able to provide it, if not guarantee it. And that should really be it. In person, generally, that's it. You can look into someone's eyes when you're speaking and you really get the feeling of, yes, this person can help me, or no, they can't. Online, we don't really have much of that. So we've got to spend a lot of time establishing like, know, and trust. And that for me was and is my initial strategy. You have to get people to first like you, to know you, who you are and why you can help them, and then to trust you that they can give you their money, and you can actually deliver the service. So my strategy largely is to try and get people, first of all, just to know me, and then hopefully like me, and then from there to trust me to be able to provide them with the service. So it's been largely organic to start off with. However, Facebook ads are a very necessary part, because otherwise you're just having a rock concert in your garden and nobody knows it's happening, and you kind of just keep wondering why. And that's really just because they don't know you exist. So the strategy is really to try and get in front of as many people as I can and to talk to them. But to add value first. That's first and foremost. If I can't add value to you, there's no ways I'm even going to try and make a sale, because there's no point. There's just no point at the end of the day.
Yeah, I love that, man. This is amazing. And like in terms of footprint online, what sort of tools are you using? Are you using to be online and provide service and be in front of your clients?
So my main social media platform now actually is Facebook. I find I take a liking to Facebook a little bit more than everything else. Mm-hmm. Instagram I use all the time, every day. I'm on there every day and on the stories. However, Instagram defeated me slightly. I had an account prior for my online personal training academy, and I had about 23,000 followers on there. And it was a good audience. Everyone was engaging and so on. However, when I went onto Diabetic Athletic full time, it was the wrong audience. You can't speak about diabetes or diabetic related services to an audience where they don't care about it, because, well, they do, but they're not diabetic. So it's the wrong message to the wrong audience.
Yeah, I know what you mean. That's quite challenging.
I actually ended up closing that account and then starting a brand new Instagram account. So now, I've got a whole lot less followers, far more engaging, but a whole lot less. And so we start building up Instagram again. But Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube are pretty much my main social media platforms that I enjoy being on the most.
Cool. Well, time flies when you're having fun, isn't it? Like, we're nearly close to 30 minutes. So yeah, we're going to be wrapping up very soon. I want to know, do you have a goal that scares you?
Speaking live, to be honest with you. That is, I'm not even joking.
I know, you actually told me beforehand, mate. I'm super proud of you. You're doing great. This is amazing.
Yeah, I'm probably just going to fall over once you end the chat here. Speaking live is, I would say, it's actually my biggest goal, but it's also my biggest fear, because it's live, it's raw. You make mistakes, it's visible, and none of us really enjoy that. But we do have to embrace it. I'd love to do more live talks. Fat Loss 101, Diabetes 101, talks on type 1 and type 2 diabetes, how to lose fat as diabetics, first steps when diagnosed, those kinds of things, because it's something that I can speak about without having to really prepare. However, live crowds and just being live in general, it scares me. However, that's the goal for 2020. And that's why when you said, would I be on your show? I said yes. I almost said no, I won't lie to you. But I thought, no, you just can't. You have to go for what you want. So
love it. Yeah, you got to face your fears and make it happen, isn't it?
Yeah. Yes, exactly.
All right, I've got one last question for you, and it is, so are you giving something for free today for our audience?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So it's a 21-day, 3-week training and nutrition program. The training and nutrition program is geared towards diabetics. However, if fat loss or an additional training regime is something that you're looking for, this 21-day or 3-week program is perfect. The reason I designed it was to help diabetics get less dependency on medication, for them to have better glucose control, but also for people that are needing a little bit of an addition to their already existing training program, or for those that are wanting to start and just really unsure of where to start. Starting a training and nutrition plan can be very difficult, especially when you've Googled it and it's really not specific to you. So what happens is you get 3 weeks of my undying support, right? So 21 days of me delivering workouts to you that are specific to you and your goals. Really well done. And obviously all, the demonstrations are all done via video, but also the nutrition plan is specific to you on this 3-week program with support. So when you've got questions, they get answered. And that's really the key. So that's what I'm giving away today.
That's 100% free.
100% free. 100% free.
Mate, this is amazing. That's awesome. Nick, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. I really enjoyed our chat. You're an absolutely champ. I really, really wanted to have you here on the show because I knew that would be absolutely amazing. So thank you so much. Best of luck with your business and everything. And if you need anything, mate, you know where to find us.
Perfect. Thanks, buddy. Thanks for having me. It was a lot easier than I thought it was going to be. So thanks for that.
You got this, buddy. Take care, mate. Have a good one.
Lovely, my buddy. Keep well. Cheers.